This is the Gaumont British News, presenting the world to the world.
End of a heat wave. In the district around Melbourne and Victoria, a bushfire of terrifying proportions swept the land. Over 60 lives were lost. The damage valued in terms of money is almost incalculable. Timber camps, townships, sawmills, hydroelectric stations, all wiped out. Volunteers waged a losing battle against the dread onrush of an army of flame. Abandoned cars tell a story of disaster. Death overtook their occupants as they raced from its outstretched burning arms. Night brought no respite. Torches of scrubland lit up the broad heavens as the inferno spread before the wind. Hundreds of families took shelter in dugouts in the earth, like the benighted peoples of a primitive age. Man's puny efforts were powerless against the ravaging might of this overwhelming fury. But man with the will to live fought on, even when all was lost. Before the year ended, wild weather brought the greatest floods ever recorded in Victoria. To the Commission, the floods meant disaster. The Latrobe River burst through levee banks and poured into the open cut at 5 million gallons a minute. The open cut became a huge lake. For months, water was pumped from the open cut.
Victoria ablaze, counting the cost of the worst bushfires in decades.
We've got nothing. It's all gone.
At least
No other subject creates more polite conversation than the weather. It dictates what we wear, how we feel. For instance, it's sunny today and I always feel very energetic and enthusiastic whenever the sun's out. So it's really important that we have a reliable weather forecast. But do we get it? Well, let's go and find out.
You've probably walked past one without noticing. A cluster of instruments scattered across a wedge of lawn. Unnamed, unguarded, unspectacular. And yet, this is where the forecast begins. From here, the Bureau of Meteorology collects the data that becomes your weather app prediction, your emergency alert, your quiet reassurance that someone is watching the sky. These stations operate with quiet precision, but even the gentlest change can distort them. A tree growing taller, the shifting shadow of a nearby building, a new pattern of heat bouncing off unfamiliar surfaces. These towers are calibrated for stillness, but the world around them is always in motion. The question is posed, what does it mean to build beside something too sensitive to withstand our presence? Can architecture observe without influencing, or are we always altering the very thing we are trying to understand? I'm not a climate scientist, I'm not the Bureau, nor am I the voice of country. I'm a student of architecture standing at the edge of a system far older and more complex than myself, but I am implicated, and so the work begins. What kind of architecture can hold that awareness? What belongs to the space between knowledge and speculation, between critique and care? My project is not an architecture of prediction. It is not even an architecture of clarity. It is an architecture of attunement. A spatial practice that listens before it speaks, not to forecast the future, but to register the subtle shifts already happening in the air, the soil, the silence. Because we are not separate from these systems. Humans, after all, are animals too. So why do we treat instinct as something less than knowledge? Birds don't ask why they migrate. Turtles don't debate the moon. They just know. Yet we've dislocated ourselves from that knowing. Our dependence on abstracted systems has dulled our ability to sense what is already evident, in the weather, in the land, in our own bodies. Attunement is not passive, it is active noticing. It is choosing to design not as a gesture of mastery, but as a gesture of humility, to admit that we are not outside the system, we are in it. So I'm not asking architecture to perform, I'm asking it to listen.